Good evening. My name is James King, and as the chairman of Young Republicans of Northeast Georgia, it is my privilege to welcome you to the first debate between the 5 candidates running for sheriff of White County. We'll begin tonight's debate by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this point in time, I'll lead us in a brief word of prayer. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you, Lord, for all of your blessings and provisions upon this nation. I pray that you'd be with those who are afflicted by the pandemic we're facing, and I pray you'd give our elected officials wisdom and guidance in these uncertain times. Father, thank you for all of your blessings and provisions. In your name I pray. Amen. In just a few minutes, we'll read the rules and introduce the moderator. But first, I'd like to thank Fetch Your News for covering the debate tonight. I'd also like to thank WRWH and the White County News for also covering tonight's debate. So, a couple of rules real quick. Each panelist participating in tonight's debate will be given 2 minutes to give an introduction statement at the beginning of the debate and another 2 minutes to give a closing statement at the end of the debate. In this debate, each candidate will be given 1 minute to answer each question asked by the moderator, and also during the question and answer session from the audience, which you can submit questions to us by emailing wireng2017@gmail.com. Again, wireng2017@gmail.com. Also, in this debate, if one candidate directly names another candidate, that candidate mentioned will be given 60 seconds to provide a rebuttal. So this time I'm going to introduce our moderator. Caleb Hewitt is a White County native and a fellow alumnus of Truett-McConnell University. He was the student body president and the first chairman of the college Republicans at Truett-McConnell. Caleb completed his undergraduate degree with a Bachelor's of Science in Management while still on active duty in the United States Navy. Later, he went on to participate in the Master's of Science in Human Resource Management at Strayer University while leading his department as a government contractor, serving as a Human Resources Director. Caleb also received his Juris Master from Liberty University School of Law. He is currently the co-owner and CFO of Straight Shooters Guns and Ammo LLC, which is located in Cleveland, Georgia, in the Alco Real Estate Building across from McDonald's. Please welcome Caleb Hewitt.
Good evening, everyone. Now we're going to introduce our candidates in alphabetical order. Aaron Autry. Aaron is a lifelong resident of White County. Aaron's a proud graduate of White County High School. He graduated in 1993. With 27 years of experience, Aaron has been in public safety since 1994. Aaron and his wife Becky attend the Bridge Church in Cleveland. Together, Aaron and Becky have 4 children, 3 grandchildren. Aaron is an avid sportsman, and he loves the outdoors. He enjoys to ride his Harley Davidson, working on old classic Mustangs, and spending his time with his family. Aaron is currently employed with the MARTA Police Department in Metro Atlanta. Will Garrett. Will's a lifelong resident of White County. He's been in law enforcement for 15 years. He's a member of the Cleveland Fire Department. He works full-time with Wilcorp and part-time with Towns County Sheriff's Department. Rick Kelly. Rick is a native and lifelong resident of White County. Rick and his wife Starla have been married for almost 15 years. They have a 4-year-old son together. Rick is a member of the First Baptist Church in Cleveland. Rick is also a member of Yona Lodge, a past president of Alpine Shrine Club, a member of White County Rotary Club, and serves on the board of South Etowah Child Advocacy Center in Cleveland. Rick has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from North Georgia College and has been employed with White County Sheriff's Office for the last 17 years. While employed at the White County Sheriff's Office, he has earned 2 advanced training certificates in supervision and management. John Murphy. John Murphy is a retired law enforcement officer with 36 years experience as a deputy sheriff. He's a resident of White County and has been for the last 26 years and is a lifelong member of Bethel Baptist Church. John likes to spend a lot of time with his wife and family and his 3 sons. Jeff Ramey. Jeff's a lifelong resident of White County. Jeff graduated from White County High School in 1986. He's been married to his wife Deborah for 34 years. They have 2 children, 6 grandchildren. Jeff worked at Ramey Motors, an established family business in White County, for more than 40 years. Since graduating high school, Jeff was also a volunteer for the White County Fire Department for several years as well, and has several classic cars which he enjoys, and spending time with his grandchildren. Welcome, candidates.
Thank you.
So, to start, we're going to do a 2-minute self-introduction of each candidate, starting with you, Mr. Autry.
Go ahead.
It's your opportunity to introduce yourself. You have 2 minutes.
Okay. My name is Aaron Matthew Autry. I'm a lifelong resident here at White County. My mother is Beverly Allen. My father is Stanley Autry. They were both born and raised here as well. We lived behind Badcock, which was cash and carry supermarket, for 45 plus years. My dad was in law enforcement. He retired from the state of Georgia. My mother owns a business in the industrial park that she's since just retired, called Alpenland International. I've been in law enforcement or in public safety since 1994. I graduated high school in 93, and I was the first 911 dispatcher and the youngest 911 dispatcher ever hired for White County. After that, I went to Hall County Sheriff's Office, where I worked in the jail for 2 years. Then I became certified police officer and started working for Cleveland Police Department. After I left Cleveland, I went to Forsyth County for a short time and worked for about 6 months, and then went to White County. So I worked at White County Sheriff's Office for 14 years. I was the first K-9 handler and the first school resource officer assigned to the White County High School. After that, I left in 2010 and went to Marta Police Department, where I worked for 6 years as basically a patrol officer, and then I had to leave to run for sheriff of last time. So in 2016, when I ran for sheriff, I had to leave and went to Habersham. I worked there for about 1.5 years, and then I went back to Marta Police Department, where I currently am employed as a senior motor officer assigned to the bus patrol unit.
All right, Mr. Garrett.
Thanks for having me. My name's Will Garrett. My parents, they got a lot of deep roots here in White County as well. My dad, very proud of the work he did here in White County. For a number of years, he worked for Cecil Crumley on the farm, and then he went to work for Werner and Stanley London at London Farms until he retired. Mom, she's also got deep roots here in the county with nearly 30 years of driving school bus here for White County school system. So my family, we also have deep roots here in the county. I started with the Sheriff Walden here in 2005. Worked a number of years in the jail for him, and when he put me through the academy, he assigned me for a short stint in the civil division. After that, I got to get promoted out to patrol and work patrol for a number of years, and really enjoyed that, and still work patrol today just with Towns County. I currently work full-time with a company called Wheel Corp, which is a trucking outfit out of Clarksville. And with that being said, I'd like to take just a second to ask anybody that would just say a prayer for a coworker of mine. He was involved in a terrible accident this morning. We was running together and he turned his truck over. And it's not looking too well for him right now. But if you would, I'd appreciate any prayers sent his way.
Mr. Kelly?
Hey, thank y'all for tuning in. My name's Rick Kelly. My mother is Julie Kelly. She worked at the White County Bank for close to 30 years, and my father was Richard Kelly. He was the local manager at Georgia Power for over 30 years here in Cleveland. I started with the White County Sheriff's Office back in 2003. Started working in the Detention Center and worked through the Civil Division, the Patrol Division, and worked into the Investigations Division, and found my niche in investigations. I was promoted to sergeant, and then I was promoted to division commander over the Investigations Division 3 years ago, and that was the position that I held until I resigned after the first of the year to campaign for office. The platform that I'm running on is I want to shift the sheriff's office a little more towards community-oriented policing. I want to open up lines of communication between us, the sheriff's office, and the public. I want to offer educational seminars to the public on whatever hot topics we've got going on. I want to offer a Citizens Police Academy that helps the citizens know and understand a little bit more how law enforcement works. I want to make sure that we keep the public's support and trust in us as the county grows, and I want to implement a crime suppression unit, which is a couple of guys that are aggressive and proactive, and they hit problem areas out in the county where we've got drug activity or burglaries and thefts. And I also want to add a canine dog to our patrol division, and I want to work with our school board on getting some additional school resource officers. We currently have 2 SROs, and we've got 4 schools out in the county, so we're lacking in that area. But that's the platform that I'm running on. Thank you.
Mr. Murphy?
John Murphy. I started in law enforcement in 1979 with Hall County. My objective then was to make a change, to make a difference. I worked for Hall County for 25 years, through the growth period. Started out there, we had about 60 officers when I went to work there. When I retired in 2004, we had over 350. I learned a lot with Hall County. I left Hall County, retired. It's an opt-out retirement. They offered us a retirement we couldn't refuse, and went to work for Neil Walden, White County Sheriff's Office. Worked there for 11 years. Started out in court services. About a year later, I was promoted to sergeant. Left court services, went into investigations, which is where I'd worked most of my career as an investigator. And was promoted to sergeant there, and then later on promoted to captain and moved back into court services, where I was the division commander for court services for about 4 years. When I was with Hall County, I worked everything. Went into investigations. I was on the SWAT team for 22 years. When I retired, I was assistant SWAT team commander. I worked crime scene, started out the crime scene unit for Hall County, founded it, developed it, worked in it for 7 years, worked auto theft for 5 years, worked juvenile for a year and a half. I've been in prosecuting cases, all sorts of cases, murders, armed robberies, child abuse cases, done just about all of it. Many hours of testimony. I'm an expert fingerprint examiner, expert in SWAT tactics. I worked as a fatality accident investigator for 2 years. I've been around, I've seen what'll work. I worked for 5 different sheriffs, 4 in Hall County and Neil Walden. So I know what'll work. I know what doesn't work. And some of the things that I've seen applied, I wondered why. I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to meet the challenge and do what's best for White County and treat everybody right. We're all created equal, and we should be treated as such. Thank you.
Mr. Ramey?
Yes, my name's Jeff Ramey, and I'd like to thank y'all for having us tonight. And I run a towing service in Habersham County, and I also work with my family in White County, where we've been in business for over 50 years. I've been in volunteer fireman. I also helped the county whenever we put the towers up for the tornadoes and the alarms and stuff for them, help get those set up and hooked up. I've been working, doing stuff like that throughout the county. I've seen a lot of changes in the county because I've lived here my whole life. My father, he worked for Frank, and he also worked for Neil some. He was actually Rick Kelly's partner, and he worked for he had a cousin that was sheriff in Towns County also. So I've been around law enforcement and stuff too my whole life, and we've seen a lot of stuff and a lot of changes in the county and the way that the county is being done. I think that we can move forward, but we just have the help of the people to do it. And that's the reason I decided to run, to help get people more involved in the county and put the sheriff's office to work for the people in the county. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Let's hop into the questions in the same order. All of them will be in the same order, of course. What are the most important skill sets or attributes of a successful sheriff?
Well, I would say that vision, integrity, there's a numerous things that has to be important to a sheriff. You need to surround yourself with some good people, some people that know law enforcement, that can assist you in running that agency. It's not just one person. The sheriff's he's just the head of the agency. He is the commander and the chief, basically, of that sheriff's office, but he is not the one that helps it run the day-to-day basis. You need a team. You need a good professional team, and have that integrity with everyone on the same visions that you have, so that you have a good team, basically.
Scary.
Sheriff needs to be fair, firm with everybody, regardless of your stature, your financial backgrounds, who you know, who you don't know. Sheriff needs to be in tune with the community. Needs to be out in the community, and that's going to help the sheriff firsthand have knowledge of what needs to be done in the community, and then he can also relay that to his team. And like Aaron said, you got to have a good command staff behind you as well.
Mr. Kelly?
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, sure. What's the most important skills or attributes of a successful sheriff?
I believe listening skills, communication skills is what patience is what a sheriff needs. Knowledge of the job set and clear goals for his office is what a sheriff needs.
Mr. Murphy?
I think a sheriff needs to have the wisdom of age. I'm 65 years old. I've seen a lot in my career. I think a sheriff has to have that knowledge. He has to surround himself with a core of people that can do the job when he's not around. If something comes up, they can handle it. A good administrator is only as good as the people that work for him. Having that mindset and the good Lord behind them, with prayer and vigilance, I think a sheriff can be as good as he wants to be.
Mr. Ramey?
I think the sheriff should be able to do and help the people in the county and the surrounding counties around him, because if we don't all work together, we're just backing up.
All right. So, why do you want to be sheriff? What skills, knowledge, and experience makes you stand out from the crowd?
That's a very good question. The reason I want to be sheriff is to help support my community and my family. That's the main thing. I grew up in this county. I want to make sure that we're took care of, that we keep all that evil and everything that's going on in the world outside them county lines. That's one of the main things to me, is to protect us, the citizens of White County.
Yeah.
I want to be sheriff because I want to continue to maintain the safety and security of White County. I think this it's a great county to live in. I want to be able to raise my grandkids in this county and them be safe. I think, firsthand knowledge of working patrol here in the county, out on the front lines, that, it gives me an insight of what needs to be done on day to day as far as what the guys need out on patrol to do things like combating drugs, to be able to help, stop the burglaries and thefts and things in the county. Being a part of patrol for the many years I worked, I think that that's one of the best aspects I've got to help me do that job.
Mr. Kelly?
Repeat the question, please.
Sure. Why do you want to be sheriff? What skill sets, knowledge, and experience do you have that makes you stand out from the crowd, and what makes you the best candidate for this position?
I've worked with the sheriff's office for the last 17 years, and working and serving the citizens of the community, it's became important to me, and that's why I want to serve the people of this community. I'm vested in it, and my qualifications are my 17 years of continuous service here at the sheriff's office. I've worked through all the divisions at the sheriff's office. I've got an advanced education with a college degree, and I've got advanced training in supervision and management. And I've got 3 years experience, command staff experience, and those are my qualifications.
Mr. Murphy?
I want to be sheriff because I feel this is where God has led me. I've had experience and training well beyond what most officers with my years of experience has. I've got over 3,500 hours of training. I've got a lot of advanced training. I took a 10-week course with Columbus State University on management and supervision for law enforcement agencies. Some people ask me, why are you running for sheriff? You're retired. You've got it made. I'm running sheriff because this is what God wants me to do. And if I don't run for sheriff, I'm letting God down. And I'm not about to do that. Thank you.
Mr. Ramey?
I'm running for sheriff because I see the businesses and stuff that we do, and also the way the communities and stuff is being done. I think I can make a change, and a positive change, because it's just like the sheriff's office is like a business. And where I think I can do a good job in doing it is because I have business experience. All the other candidates have worked for the sheriff's office. They see what it is. They see what we need to change. And I want to change it. And I think that we need leadership up there to change it. And that's the reason I want to run for sheriff.
What do you think is the biggest priority regarding crime facing White County?
I believe the biggest priority of crime we have in White County is the narcotics problem. It don't just limit itself to White County. This is all Northeast Georgia surrounding areas. The drug problem is just crazy around here. And it's the meth and the heroin that's killing folks. It's breaking up families. That's the issues that we're running into. Well, if I'm elected sheriff, I want to combat that. Being a narcotics handler, a canine handler for a year, I seen this stuff. I seen it firsthand. I seen how it worked on the officers itself, as well as the individuals that had the addiction problem. I want to fix that problem. I want to help get them people and lead them away from it.
Garrett?
There's no doubt that White County has a drug issue. Every county around us has a drug issue. As sheriff, my plans would be to combat that with an iron fist as hard as I could. Also, not only the illegal drugs, but prescription drugs. We have issues with that. But another issue that we also have that I would want to sit down and figure out a way to help more folks would be, the addicts coming off drugs. Help find ways to help them maintain that sobriety level. Give them options more than they've got. I think if we don't give those folks the opportunity to maintain that sobriety and help them, they're likely to relapse, and then we're right back into the drug issue we've got, maybe even worse.
Mr. Kelly?
I agree with Aaron and Will. The biggest problem at White County, as far as crime is the drug issue. We've got a drug problem, and everybody else in North Georgia has a drug problem. My plan going forward is to implement a crime suppression unit to target those problem areas, and I want to work with the court system and the accountability court and the drug court program to help get these folks treatment. I think that's the way of the future, and we've currently got 25 people in the drug court program, and we've seen some great success stories out of that, and I think that we need to continue that. And hopefully, if we can work on the demand, law enforcement's worked on the supply issue for years and years, and I think it's time to work on the demand of the drug trade.
Mr. Murphy?
Yeah, drugs is everybody's problem. It's a problem that it touches everybody. We have that problem. White County, North Georgia, the state of Georgia. It all comes back to family, having a stronger family values, putting God back into our government, putting God back into our schools and our families. We can build that strength up. We can help these people. Drugs is supply and demand. There's a demand for them. The supply is going to be there. The sheriff's department can attack the supply. That's what we need to do, attack the supply. But we need to get the demand down too. We can do that by helping these people fight off this addiction, whether it's prescription drugs, or heroin, or methamphetamine, no matter what it is. We can solve this problem, but we got to work together. It's not a sheriff's department problem. It's not a school problem. It's not a city problem. It's our problem, and we need to address it as our problem. Everybody has to fight it. The whole community, the sheriff's department, the fire department, everybody involved has to fight it.
Mr. Ramey?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, the biggest priority regarding crime facing the county.
Yeah, I would like to combat on the drug problems and stuff in the county, but the way I see to do that is start an in-house drug task force unit to work with the regional task force. And therefore, whenever you have one problem, it escalates to another problem, just like the crime unit and stuff like that. We need to get more investigations and more people doing more jobs out there than what they're doing now. As of now, we've got one agent, and he's in the regional task force, and he works different parts of different counties. And if we had our own in-house drug task force agents to work with them, that would help us on combating the drug problem in the county. And that's where I'd stand with that.
Okay. So as a quick follow-up to that, without being redundant, do you have any specific policy initiatives to combat the drug problem within the county? Mr. Autry?
Yes, I want to produce a criminal apprehension unit. This unit will consist of 2 to 3 deputies. They will combat basically the drug issues, which is linked to everything else. If you got drug issues, you got burglary issues. You got burglary issues, you got domestic issues. All that is linked to drugs. And the way I want to combat it is I want to get 2 narcotics dogs, because I'm a narcotics handler. I was for 8 years. I want these 2 dog handlers teams will be assigned to patrol. Now the 2 to 3 deputies that'll be assigned to the apprehension unit, I want them to just go out and get this dope off the street. They'll report directly to me, and they won't answer to any other officer or any other command staff other than me. So we go out and we fight it straight on.
Scared?
I agree, Aaron. I'd like to have a 4-man team. This would be a traffic safety unit just like we used to have. And I'd like for that team to consist of at least 2 K9s. One would be good, but at least 2. Not only would this team be their job would be traffic, but it would also be to work drugs interdiction in the county. And they would also serve as our crime suppression unit. That one team would be, they would have the freedom to work the hours, the schedules that they need to work our higher crime areas in the county, and to collect the information that they need to further push the dope out of the county and take our burglaries and our crimes to a lower number.
Okay, Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, my plan for the implementation of the crime suppression unit, which would be a couple of guys that would just be target and be proactive in certain areas, and they would work in conjunction with the investigators in the CID office and along with the drug task force, and their focus would be more along the street level deal line of it, and just more focused on, we need to stay focused on the accountability courts and the drug court, and make sure we get as many folks into those programs and focus on treatment, focus on that as much as possible.
Mr. Murphy?
I agree with the other candidates about the drug problem and how to attack it. The problem I see in my years of experience is manpower issues, cost effectiveness. We can do that. We can have a crime suppression unit. Full-time crime suppression unit? No, we don't have the manpower. But we can designate some of our people to rotate into jobs where they can do it. Develop a warrant squad, two-man warrant squad, go out and serve warrants. Let them be part of our crime suppression unit. Let them work with our drug task force, our investigators, work with anybody and everybody we can, the federal units, DEA, whoever, and attack these situations. If we do that off and on as we go through the year, we can beat this. We're not going to completely beat it, but we can make a dent, a big dent in it, and change the way our sheriff's department and our county operates.
Mr. Ramey?
I think we need to get our patrol officers and all that to be out here patrolling more, going in more areas, meeting more people. And I'd like to take and have them to work so much this time and then switch them around where that they get to know more people in the county, and therefore more people, when they have more problems and stuff, they can talk to more than one officer that they know and who they trust. And that's where I think we need it.
How will you seek to optimize your budget to allow for maximum efficiency within the organization?
Well, to maximize the budget, you got 65 to 70% of your budget is going to cover the employees and the benefits. The rest of that 30% is going to be included, like your jail, your the food for the inmates and so forth. It's basically operations of that 30%. So the majority is going to come from your staffing, and you got to pay them benefits. You got to pay their health insurance up to so much. That budget is kind of hard to maintain with what we have. I mean, these guys out here, they need more money. The guys and girls, the deputies, they need more money, but it's hard to get more money. And I pay taxes. I don't want to pay them high taxes like everybody else does. So we're going to have to come up with something to help out with that, to budget it.
Okay, good.
Responsible, conservative spending. I think we can look around through the sheriff's office, and I know there's positions that we want to fill with these crime suppression units. I think that we can pull personnel from different places to put them there to not have to spend any additional money, and just be very reasonable and with our spending and maintain it.
Mr. Kelly?
I believe the budget process and trying to reduce it when you're looking at personnel and equipment, always try to shop your vendors around, work on trying to find grants to fund positions and for equipment purposes, purchases. And also when it comes to the jail side of it, the inmate, getting the inmates moved once they're sentenced. We don't need a lot of inmates that are sentenced sitting in our jail. So if we can get inmates moving and get our population down, that's a good way of reducing the budget.
Mr. Murphy?
The budget's always been a problem to both Hall County and White County. There's always been budget issues. Having to be frugal, not spend the stuff on unnecessary items, finding the best deals, going through grants. If White County had a grant writer to write grants for the whole county, that'd be great. We could develop all sorts of grants for law enforcement, for first responders, for the road department, to the whole county, and utilize that money that comes in, that federal money, to help support us. To take issue with federal agencies that can assist us. The Marshals Unit, DEA, Immigration, whoever, whatever we can do. Utilize everything we can get from everybody we can get, as far as federal, state, local, even have some private donations if necessary. Some of these people coming in that can help us with that would be good. Thank you.
Mr. Rainey?
It's like I said earlier, I think that it should be run like a business to an extent, because that's what you have. You have a budget that you need to go through. You've got a budget for the detention center, plus you've got a budget for the sheriff's department, and they combine them at the end. I think you can save a lot of money by moving a lot of people around and getting rid of some that you don't need. Just like me, I don't want a chief deputy, because I feel the chief deputy creates a sponge between the officers, the citizens, and the sheriff. And therefore, you can move stuff around and money around, and you can save money by doing all that. Thank you.
What reforms, if any, do you seek to implement within the White County Detention Center?
Repeat that.
What reforms, if any, do you seek to implement within White County Detention Center?
There's one thing, or a couple things that I see in the detention center that we need. These jailers or deputies, they're still deputies, they're jailers, they don't have what they call shank vest or stab-proof vest. They don't have tasers, they don't carry those, they don't carry pepper spray. Those are some things that I would like to see implemented to protect these officers that's working inside this detention center. That's some things that I would like to see staffing. I would like to have some people come in that are certified counselors that have had some past goings with the narcotics issues, that have been on drugs, that have hit rock bottom. I want to have some of them people come in and speak with some of these people that are arrested, so that they can relate. Because I can sit here and talk to you about drugs all day long. I can say this and that about dope. I can say this and that about methamphetamine. But I can't tell you like somebody that's been there. Thank you.
I want to make sure that our folks coming in gets an opportunity to further education if they, feel the need or have that need. There's several things that when inmates are sitting in there building time in the county that they could do to make their life back in the community better. And I think that there's plenty of options out there that we can sit down and discuss to make that happen.
Yeah, and I would like to review our current narcotics anonymous program, all of our programs that we have. Make sure there's any places that we can improve on those. The mental health program that we have. Make sure that our church service program, make sure we've got enough of those meetings throughout the week, and expand those if there's a need to expand them.
Mr. Murphy?
One of the biggest issues I see with the detention center is the population. Over 50% of the inmates in there are there for probation violations. We need to deal with that. We cut that population down, cut our budget down, we save money. This is an issue that needs to be addressed. The other issues that the other candidates brought up are good. It's also stuff we need, the shank vest, the training, the involvement they have with church services. I think we need to offer that not only to the inmates, but to the staff that works there also, the ones that have to work on Sunday. They should have an option of church services too. Thank you.
Mr. Ramey?
I think we need to take and, like the people, officers and stuff in the detention center, they need the equipment to do and perform the job. And just like they say with the churches and stuff like that, they need training for people out here that's working in the churches and stuff, but also the people in the church needs training too, because if you stop and think, when you're sitting in a church, you're sitting facing the front of the church and people comes in the back and it's like a shooting gallery, and you need people in there to learn and know how to take care of the people in the church. Thank you.
All right, with that being said, we're going to take a 3-minute intermission. Welcome back to the Sheriff's Debate. Our next question is, what do you believe the greatest need within White County is? How do you, if elected, the sheriff seek to achieve those needs?
I think the greatest need that we have right now is we need to be more community-oriented. I believe we need to have some more in-depth community-type, I guess you could say, a way to get the community together, to come together and have like I want to have a shooting female class, a women's female class to shoot firearms and teach them and train them. I'd like to implement stuff like that with the community. Also, like a community-oriented policing type. I guess you could say more of a bring the community together and have outings. Have something that you can talk with the community directly, and be more transparent so that we can show the community.
Sure.
Definitely, transparency is a big issue. We need to make sure that the community is in touch with the sheriff's office. And if elected sheriff, I will have a volunteer community team to come in and be able to do things in the office, answer phones, and that'll be, to folks that's got time on their hands and want to be involved. Not only that, but a community police academy to bring anybody in that just wants to know what we do on a daily basis and build from that. Not only that, we've got to take care of our youth. We've got a lot of youth in the county and don't really have a lot of things for them to do. The sheriff's office has got a junior deputy academy, and that's kind of limited to folks, various age group. And I'd like to build on that, open it up to more age groups, more children.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes, we got to get our sheriff's office a little more involved in the community. I want to implement some educational seminars, make sure we've got officers available for homeowners association meetings. One of my platform issues is running a Citizens Police Academy. It's important that we get the law enforcement and the public together, make sure we get our officers out in the public, in the community more, where community members learn officers' names, feel more comfortable with them, and that's something that we need to work on and improve, because the community support is important for our success as a sheriff's office.
Mr. Murphy?
Public relations. It's an issue that every law enforcement agency has in this country. It's something that's going on with people attacking police officers, law enforcement officials. It's something we need to address. We need to be good friends and good patrons with our community. We need to develop a transparency that anybody that wants to know what's going on with the sheriff's department can find out. They can ask the sheriff, they can ask the deputies. Stop and talk to somebody that's out plowing their field or cutting their grass. Communicate with these people. Let everybody know we're there to protect and serve the public. The public needs to know that. We're there for their best interest, not ours. We need to touch with these people, get in touch with them. Tell them what you want, ask them what they need, and work on it. Public relations, transparency, that's what we need.
Mr. Ramey?
I think our first line is our patrol division. They're the first ones that the people sees whenever they need something, if it's good or bad. And that's the reason I think we need to get our patrol people out, let them get more involved with the people in the community, and have them just not in one area, let them work the whole county. Work this area one time, this area the next time, and get to know the people in the community and have an open door policy. When you come to the sheriff's department, if you want to speak to the sheriff, that's who you want to speak to. And the sheriff should be available to talk and hear, and therefore he can command the people to what he needs to do to help the citizens in the county better.
Thanks. Now, supervising a department with over 80 employees requires executive training and experience. What supervisory, management, or executive training or experience do you have?
I have some supervisory experience being a night shift patrol commander for my my guys when I worked patrol. I have some supervisory experience as in post training. I have a very wide realm of different types of training and experience. When you get to K9, I worked K9 for 8 years. I'm a SWAT officer. I'm a motor officer now. I have a lot of narcotics training. I have a wide realm of experience when it comes to the job.
I was shift supervisor on patrol for a while, working in the jail. I was senior officer for many years in the jail, and wasn't a supervisor, but overseeing the shift when the supervisor was out. Not only that, for the past 17 or so years, I've been a lieutenant for the fire department here in White County, or city of Cleveland. So I've got supervisor skills taking care of these folks.
Kelly?
Yes, I've got a little over 7 years supervisory experience. I've got 3 years of command staff experience here at the sheriff's office. I've got 2 advanced certifications, one in supervision, and I've got one in management, and I've got a college degree in criminal justice.
Mr. Murphy?
I was a division commander for White County Sheriff's Office for 4 years, a little over 4 years. I've had a lot of training, 200 hours with Columbus State University on management and supervision, advanced college course. I completed a course with a 3.9 grade point average. 36 years of seeing supervisors, the ins and outs, what they did good, what they did bad. The problem I had with a lot of people is the partiality that's shown, the favoritism. That's going to be gone. If I'm elected sheriff, the favoritism's gone. It's going to be you get, what you earn. You do the things you're supposed to do, and you do them right. You treat people right. We need to put God back in our government. We need to put our government back in God. Having cars, patrol cars parked outside our churches on Sunday, help protect them. That's what we need.
Good question.
Supervising a department with 80 employees requires executive training and experience. What supervisory, management, or executive training or experience do you have?
Yeah. The experience that I have with it is owning my own business, working employees under me in my business, and for the business that we do, we have different occasions on different scenes of different things, and you have to think on your feet and keep stuff doing and keep stuff moving. And if you've got someone under you, once you train them and learn what to do, that falls back and it helps you on your supervision on the employees you've got working under you.
All right. And this is a social media question as well. Counties in Georgia are increasingly taking the law enforcement function away from sheriffs and creating a county police department to handle law enforcement, which relegates the sheriffs to managing the jail detention centers and facilities. Would you be in favor of such a move in White County, and why?
Well, from a sheriff point of view, that's pretty much a sheriff's dream. He don't have to worry about the patrol side no more. The only thing he has to worry about is the detention and the courts. He has to maintain an office in the courthouse. Now, personally, I don't agree with it. I'll tell you why I don't agree with it. I think that the sheriff is out here enforcing and patrolling and doing the so-called interaction with the communities. A county police department is basically just that. It's a county police department. Sheriffs are a little different. If you asked any of these candidates right here that's been a sheriff deputy or a police officer, there's a difference. There's things that you learn. things that I learned as a deputy that I would never learn as a county police officer. I learned that having a granola bar in my patrol car would get a horse out of the road to put it inside a fence. But as an officer, you wouldn't know that.
That's good.
I like the way the sheriff's office is. I like the way the sheriff's office does business now. The sheriff being the highest law enforcement authority in the county, I think that that's where it ought to stay. The sheriff needs to produce the law for the county. That just, to me, the citizens knowing who they need to go to, and he don't answer to a higher authority over him. They can get from the horse's mouth right there. I just think that's how it ought to stay.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of a county police agency. I know some of the larger counties have got that. White County's not big enough for that. The sheriff is an elected official, and he answers to the public, the voters. That's the only person that the sheriff answers to. He doesn't answer to anybody else. Police chiefs are appointed, and anytime you create two different agencies, you're going to break down communication between those agencies, and it's going to be more difficult for people to do their job. So I'm not for that.
Murphy?
I agree with Rick Kelly. The problem you have there is the sheriff is elected. He answers to the public. He answers to the voters of White County. A police chief would be appointed by the county commission. He would answer to them only. He wouldn't have to actually answer for the things that a sheriff has to. The county commissioners would be the ones that would control him, tell him what to do, hire and fire him, whatever need to be done. That's what we need. We don't need. We need the power of the sheriff in the citizens and the voters' hands, not in the commission's hands.
Mr. Raymond?
I think we need to keep the sheriff's department in. I don't think we need a city police department because of the exact reason like they just explained. And for that, it's just like there's a town not far away from us is going through a mix-up because of basically a police department. And I don't think we need the controversy and all that in it. It should be left up to the people in the county to make those decisions. And that's who the sheriff should have to answer to.
Thanks. This is a voluntary question. As we know, there's an expected level of trust between the sheriff and the community he serves. With that being said, have you ever been charged or convicted with a felony or misdemeanors? If so, what have you learned from that mistake, and has it allowed you to shape your actions going forth?
No, I've not been charged with any crime. I've never got a speeding ticket. I don't have anything expunged off my record. I provide transparency on my Facebook page, Aaron Autry for Sheriff. You go on there, you will see that I have posted my post history, which is Georgia Police Officer Association. That it shows everything that I've done in my career. Shows all my hours that and classes I've taken. Not only that, I posted my criminal history this evening before I came up here, and I posted my driver's record yesterday.
Garrett?
No, I've never been arrested. I got a ticket back in 2001, and I've never had anything expunged off my record.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes, I've been arrested. There's no big secret. Back when I was in college, back 20 plus years ago, I was arrested for DUI a couple of times. That was before I got into law enforcement. A long time ago, I was a teenager. Grown up a lot since then, and I've dedicated the years since then to serving the citizens of this county, and that's always kind of kept me grounded and level when dealing with people.
Mr. Murphy?
Well, I had a speeding ticket back in 1975. I paid my fine, and that was years ago. I haven't had anything since then. I'm led to be truthful and honest and follow God's path that He's presented me. He's the one I'll answer to ultimately, and that's where I'll stand
Mr. Ramey?
Yes, I was arrested one time in 2001 on an obstruction charge. It went to the courts. The courts took care of. I paid my fine, and that was the end of it, a misdemeanor. Thank you.
Article 6 of the Constitution requires each public official to swear an oath of an allegiance to the Constitution. Will you be a constitutional sheriff, and what does that mean to you?
Absolutely. The Constitution was written by our forefathers, and it was written to protect us citizens. I will be a constitutional officer if elected sheriff.
Absolutely, as well. I am a constitutional officer, and I will fight for our constitutional rights with everything I am. And until they, put me in the ground, I will defend my constitutional rights.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes, we swear to the Constitution every time we take an oath, and that's what a constitutional officer is, to uphold all the amendments, and that's our given right, and that's what I'll do.
Mr. Murphy?
I've been a constitutional officer since May of 1979. I'll always be one. I swore to uphold the U.S. Constitution and the Constitution of the state of Georgia, and I'm still there.
Mr. Ramey?
Yes, I will abide by the Constitution and what it says and does for the citizens of the United States. Thank you.
Now assume that Georgia passes a red flag law, and you're a sheriff, and you receive an order to confiscate guns belonging to one of your citizens based on allegations or information given by a third party. What do you do?
I will not take away anybody's Second Amendment or their firearms. A third party? No. If there's any question that someone is going to cause harm to another, there needs to be some kind of due process. Unless you're a convicted felon, unless you've been charged with or convicted of family violence, or you're on a violation or you have a TPO, a temporary protective order, that's the reasons that I see that you should take away someone's firearms, and I do not believe in those red flag laws.
I will not infringe on your rights as a sheriff. Just like Aaron said, we stand to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and that gives you a right to keep and bear arms. And unless there is an underlying fact that you can't have, whether it be a mental illness, whatnot, I will not infringe on your rights.
Kelly?
Yeah, the red flag laws are infringing upon the Second Amendment and the Fifth Amendment. It's denying people their due process, and I wouldn't be in favor of that or support that. If there's a due process and somebody's deemed through the court system, through the judicial process, that they're not fit to own a gun, then that's when I would step in and take charge of the situation.
Mr. Murphy?
The red flag law just never has made sense to me. I think you treat people fairly, honestly, rightly. You do what you're led to do. You don't take their guns away from them when it's not necessary. If they're a threat to somebody or the public, by all means we need to, but we need to do it the proper way it should be done, the way the law says it has to be done, not by infringing on their Second Amendment rights or any other rights that they may have.
Mr. Ramey?
No, I wouldn't infringe on their rights and to abide unless something come up that had to be done.
All right. Well, that brings us to our last question before closing remarks, and that is, what does the word liberty mean to you?
Liberty to me means freedom. It means independence. You know, back in 1776, when this country was going through what it was going to have their independence and fighting, today in 2020, it's just as important now as it was then. And the times that we're having now, they're hard. We got people without jobs. We got people without homes. We got homeless. We got homeless veterans, which should never happen. We got some things going on in the world that's just horrible. And we need to step up and help each other. That's one of the reasons I want to be sheriff. Try to help others, because I have a humble heart. But liberty, that's a big word. That's a word that we should not take for granted.
Mr. Garrett?
I agree. Freedom is probably the best word to describe liberty. I feel like our community needs to, feel safe and secure in their community. They need to feel like they can come up and have a conversation with law enforcement without feeling like they're being, given the third degree or 20 questions about anything going on, and don't feel like they're being questioned for a crime just to say hello. And I think with community policing and bringing the community together, the community here can feel like they have freedom with liberty with law enforcement.
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah. Liberty, I think of the United States, the Constitution, all of our rights that we have, being able to worship God and all of our freedoms and rights that we have and that we're entitled to in living in the United States of America.
Mr. Murphy?
Liberty. It's our Constitution. It's our preamble to the Constitution. It's our rights. It's equality. Everybody's created equal. We have the liberty to live that way. We shouldn't be wanting things that shouldn't be ours. We shouldn't be trying for favoritism, for something better than somebody else. We should be trying to be equal, not expect special treatment from law enforcement or anybody else just because of who we are and what we've done. We're all equal. We all have the right to liberty and justice.
Thank you.
We're a young country, and we're the greatest country, and we have the problem with other countries that wants to do and take away our freedom and liberty because they cannot manage what they have, and everyone is jealous of what we have, and we need to protect what we have.
That brings us to our closing remarks. As our opening statements were 2 minutes each, so will our closing remarks. Mr. Autry.
Well, I'm not that much of a public speaker, and I'm definitely not a politician. I'm a law enforcement officer. That's where I've been all my career. 1994, when I started as a 911 dispatcher, the only thing that I wanted to do was to be in law enforcement. And I pursued until I became a patrol officer and got the training and the experience that I have. Good Lord's looked after me. He's kept the bullets out of my shirt, or the holes out of my shirt. He's pointed me in directions that I didn't want to go, but I went because I followed him. I was born and raised here, and this is where I'll die, and this is where they'll plant me. My family's always been here, and I want to make sure that my family and the citizens are protected, because if you look at my experience, no, I don't have a college degree. My college was out there on the streets. When I started, I only got a high school diploma. But the experience that I have in Atlanta, in the metro area, below 285, to me speaks volumes. A lot of these guys up here, they've only seen the crime in White County, one in Hall County and one north of here. It's unbelievable what I've seen. And sometimes it's hard to forget. But that experience travels with me.
In closing, I just want to thank everybody for coming in tonight and all being here. I want to let you know, as your sheriff, I will have an open door policy. I will be fair, firm. I will have a standard operating procedure that will hold everybody accountable, and it'll be fair across the board. There'll be no favoritisms given. And if there's anything that I can do for anybody, my phone number's listed on my Facebook page. By all means, give me a call anytime.
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for having us, the Sky Lake community and the Young Republicans for putting this event on. When I started with the sheriff's office 17 years ago, running for sheriff wasn't my end goal, but over the years working with the people and serving the citizens of this community, it's became important to me. The position of sheriff's important, and I became vested in this community, and the position's just too important for somebody that's seeking self-admiration. I thought long and hard, and I prayed with my family before I decided to run. I'm not a slick-talking politician, don't talk a big talk, and don't blow a whole lot of smoke. I'm a humble, hard-working law enforcement officer that's worked hard for the citizens of this county in the last 17 years. I've got the dedication and the drive to move this sheriff's office and this community forward. I've always been available to the public, and I've always been good about returning my phone calls. My cell phone number's on the back of my business card. My phone number's in the phone book, been there for 10 years. I've got a clear plan for the sheriff's office to bring the sheriff's office and the community together, closer. Plan to combat the crime problem we've got, and plan to work on school safety. Several of these guys up here has got law enforcement experience. A couple of them have got some more years experience than I do. But what sets me apart from the other guys is I've got 17 years continuous service here at the White County Sheriff's Office. I've worked through all the divisions. I've got an advanced education, and I've got advanced training in supervision and management. And I've got command staff experience. And I've got the ability to make critical decisions during tough times. And that's what separates me from these other guys. It's been an honor to serve the citizens of this county, and I'd like to continue serving the citizens of this county as your next sheriff. I'd be honored and humbled for your vote and support on June the 9th. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Murphy?
I've been in law enforcement for 36 years. Started in May of 1979. Worked my way up through the Hall County Sheriff's Department, patrol, investigations, SWAT team. Done all things. Worked for four different sheriffs there, and then worked for Sheriff Neil Walden in White County for 11 years. 24 years continuous service or 25 years continuous service with Hall County, 11 continuous years with White County. Had been in management, had been a supervisor, had been a department head. I've done a lot of these things. But most important, I'm doing what I feel God has led me to do. He's trained me. He's given me this experience, the training that is astonishing, the training I've had, the many years with Hall County in its growth period gave me opportunity to seek all sorts of training. And it's helped me. God has led me to this position, and I'm asking for your vote on June the 9th to help me accomplish what God has set out for me to do. Thank you very much for your support. All the people who have supported me, I appreciate it greatly. I will do the very best that I possibly can as long as I can do it. Thank you.
Randy?
I'm not a career in law enforcement, but I've been around it all my life with the businesses and stuff that we do, and I've seen changes and stuff, and I see changes that should be made that's not being made. And I feel that with the people that's people that's running, I don't know where that we're going to get that change or not. if it's just going to be a title. And that's the reason I decided to step in to run for sheriff, because it's time for a change, and change for the citizens of the county. Thank you.
Well, that concludes the debate. Thank you for your time, and thank you to Fetch Your News, the candidates, the young Republicans, and we're signing off.